Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Kajol Hari Bol. Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai. Jaya Radha Vrindavan Lakshma Radha Vrindavan Lakshma Radha. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya. it on the chair or maybe it's here. Good. Okay. So the chair. Yeah. This is fine. Allow it, laptop chair. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all for coming. For the next few minutes, we will going to discuss about Bhagavad Gita. What was so special about this month? Anybody knows what happened this month? That something very special happened. Something we are celebrating. Some festival. Huh. Anybody knows? Gita was spoken on Mokshada Ekadashi. Gita was spoken how many years back? Huh? 5,000. Actually, it was spoken much before that also. In the fourth chapter, Krishna says, I spoke this knowledge first to Sun God Vivashwan millions of years ago. Right? So, Gita is eternal, always there. The knowledge is always there. So, why is Bhagavad Gita so important? We'll discuss that. Bhagavad means God, and Gita means song. So, it is the song of God. It is spoken by Krishna. So, that's why it's important. If you and I were speaking, it's not so important. There are so many people who have written so many books. But because it is spoken by Krishna, so it is very important. Because Krishna is speaking. And Krishna is Bhagavan. How do we know Krishna is Bhagavan? Well, he himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, when he came, he demonstrated himself as Bhagavan. He did activities which no ordinary human being could do, like lifting Govardhan hill, showing Virat Roop. Can anybody of us do that? Can we lift Govardhan hill on our actually this hand actually lifted on this hand. So we can't do all these things. So Krishna is speaking, and Krishna has all the opulences, and he's very wise. It is described by Parashar Muni, the definition of Bhagavan. Aishwaryasya samagrasya vidyasya yashashriya jnana vairagyayosya sannam bhagaitindra. Krishna is supremely wise. One of the opulences that he's supremely wise, and he is the, of course, he knows everything, how things work. So that's why his words are very important. Bhagavad Gita is also important because it helps us navigate through life. Arjuna was in difficulty and he had to decide, he had to make a choice. So life also presents so many challenges. And if we do on our own, then we may end up doing the wrong thing and get a wrong result. But if we take guidance from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and from his devotees, then we can navigate. And ultimately, what is the purpose of life? We all want to become happy. Everybody wants to become happy. Isn't that the goal of life? Everybody is trying to do, you change your job or you get married or you buy a new house or whatever. Ultimately, it is to with the intent that it will make us happy. So Krishna is giving us a way how we can become happy in this life, in this world, living amidst so many difficulties and so many anxieties. Still, we can become happy in this life. So he is giving us that guidance in the Bhagavad Gita. So it's important because we want to become happy. And here is Krishna is saying, this is how you can become happy. So he also gives us the bigger picture of life. Bhagavad Gita is important because it gives a bigger picture of what's going on. Our picture is confined to this life and for maybe 50, 60 years. We don't know. Before this life, was there anything? After this life, will there be anything? What is this big universe about? Why am I here? All these questions you cannot ask in Harvard University also. They will not have answers to these questions. So Bhagavad Gita is giving answers to these questions. The bigger picture, you can see the bigger picture. So if you see the bigger picture, then you can plan. It solves the problems of life. What are the problems of life? What is the time? It's 5:40. Okay. What are the problems of life? Problem means what is the real problem? Yeah, but what is the definition of a problem? Which troubles you. Yeah. Now, something that troubles you may be advantageous to somebody else. I am having a cold. It is troubling me. But if I go to doctor, is it a trouble for him? No. Because if you don't go to the doctor, how is he going to make money? Right? He'll bill the insurance and he'll get his money like that, right? If I hit my car, smash my car, it's a problem for me. But for the mechanic, it's a problem? No, right? One man's problem can be another man's advantage. One man's food is another man's poison. So, problem is real problem means nobody wants it. It's common to all. Nobody wants it, and there is no real solution to that problem. So, can you think of anything like that? What we don't want? Death? Does anybody want that? Death? If there was a fire in this hall, would we not run out or would we stay in the fire? We would run out. Everybody would start running out. Why? Because we don't want to die. But everybody is going to die here. I'm just being realistic, not being pessimistic. Everybody is going to die here. One day, yeah. Today, tomorrow, day after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, everybody is going to die. Then we're also going to become, before death, usually what we do? We get old. Not necessarily, but we get old. I mean, generally people live 70, then at 75, there's so many problems. You don't want that old age. Everybody wants to look young. That's why there is so much cosmetic industry, right? You put all the nice thing to remove the wrinkles in the face. Anti-wrinkle cream. Anybody uses it here? Anti-wrinkle cream. You don't like that old age. You want to look nice and young. And you also get disease, right? In hospitals, there are so many patients. Sometimes they say, we don't have vacancy, you have to go to another hospital because our hospital is full. So disease is there. So like that, these are all the problems which are common to all. So it solves this problem. You may say, how Bhagavad Gita solves this problem? Will I not die if I read Bhagavad Gita? So to understand that, we'll have to wait a little bit to understand who we are actually, and then why we are here in this cycle of birth and death. All these things we have to understand. Then we will know what is the real problem. Sometimes it's echoing. And some, yeah. So sometimes people say, today Bhagavad Gita is not relevant because we are technologically advanced. We have iPhones and all this, satellites and in the space and so many things, right? Sometimes people say, oh, this is not the age for reading Bhagavad Gita. But the problems that were 5,000 years back when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, the same problems of birth, death, old age, disease are there today also. In fact, lifespan has decreased from Dwapar Yuga. If you believe the scriptures, the lifespan has decreased. How much they used to live in Dwapar Yuga? 1,000 years. They used to live in 1,000 years. Now, you may not believe it, but in Dwapar Yuga, things were different. People used to live 1,000 years. And our lifespan is how much now? 100 at the most. Yeah, so it has decreased from Dwapar Yuga. So problems are still the same, and same struggles are there. So, so that's why we should read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is relevant. So, what are the benefits of reading Bhagavad Gita? So, there is a nice verse. I will recite the verse. I don't have a PPT. I didn't get time to make a PPT. Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gritamrita snanam sansara malanashanam. This is from Gita Mahatmya. It says, one may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So we take a bath every day. Why we take bath? To clean, so we don't stink. We want to keep our body clean. So we have to clean the internal also. The internal, our consciousness also becomes dirty. So by coming in reading Bhagavad Gita, we can actually purify our internal, not just the external. So many things, soap and water can purify, but the internal can be purified by reading Bhagavad Gita. So this is the advantage of reading Bhagavad Gita. That if you read Bhagavad Gita, then your dirt in your heart. What is the dirt in the heart? Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mada, Matsarya. These are the things. Because there is dirt in heart, there is dirt manifesting outside in the form of crimes, in the form of pollution, all these things, right? Delhi is the most polluted city, right? It's equivalent to smoking so many cigarettes just by inhaling the air. So why all these things are happening? And there are so many wars going on, right? There are some people are saying World War III has started because so many nations are fighting, and we are in a very, why it is all this? Because everything is nice outside, but inside the heart there is all the dirt, and that's why people are fighting. There is no peace, there is no happiness. So but if we read Bhagavad Gita, then we will understand everything, and we'll clean our heart, and all this fighting will stop. So then it is said that सर्व उपनिषद गावो दुग्धा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो सुधीर वत्स भोक्ता dugdham gitaamritam mahat. If all the Upanishads, how many Upanishads are there? 108 Upanishads are there. Upanishad means that knowledge which is received sitting close to the Guru. Right? Upa means close, and Nishad means sitting close to the Guru. So Gita is also an Upanishad because Arjuna is sitting close to Krishna on the chariot and he is hearing from Krishna. So it is called Gita Upanishad. So there are 108 Upanishads, they are all like a cow. And what is the essence of the cow? Why do we keep cow? To get milk. So if you take all the essence of all the Upanishads and you like milk it, all the milk, the essence of all the Upanishads, then that milk is the Bhagavad Gita. And who is milking that? Krishna. Krishna is cowherd boy, is milking. And who is drinking? Arjuna is drinking. So you don't need to read any other Upanishads. If you get the essence in Bhagavad Gita, which has only 700 verses, if you understand Bhagavad Gita, then and understand and apply Bhagavad Gita, then everything, all perfection. You get the benefit of reading all other Upanishads. You can't read 108 Upanishads, right? We don't have time. There is Mundaka Upanishad, there is Shvetashvatara Upanishad, there is Isha Upanishad, there are so many Upanishads. Do we have time? We don't have time. We don't know Sanskrit also. We don't know. So Prabhupada has translated Bhagavad Gita, and you can take a copy and read every day one verse, and then you'll get so much knowledge which you will apply in your life. One time one man came to Prabhupada and he said, I can recite the whole Bhagavad Gita in 1 hour 48 minutes. I know all the verses, so I can recite. So Prabhupada, who is our founder, he said, you can recite, but can you follow one verse of Bhagavad Gita for 1 hour 48 minutes? So it is not about just the academic. We have to get the essence of it, and we have to understand it and see how it is applicable in my life. So it is not just theoretical knowledge which we can learn. Like हम रट्टा मारते हैं ना, हम स्कूल में जब when we don't understand, we just learn it and just vomit it out in the exam, right? And then after the exam is over, who knows what was all forgotten. It's not like that. You read the verse to understand what it is, what Krishna is saying, how is it applicable in my life. So that is why there is a nice verse by Shankaracharya. He says, Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jala Lavanika Pita Sakradapi Yena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamena Charcha. If you do three things, he says, then Yamraj will not have charcha about you. We want Yamraj to have charcha about us? No. Yamraj will not do charcha, means he will not discuss about our thing. What is the thing? It says, even little bit, if you have Bhagavad Gita, Kinchid Adhita, if you have studied even a little Bhagavad Gita, or taken Ganga Jal, or you have worshipped Murari at least once, then there is no discussion with Yamraj, the Lord of Death. So, little bit we can study, even one chapter. For every chapter, there is like a story behind. If you understand one chapter, like what is the glory of understanding one chapter of Bhagavad Gita? So we'll discuss only one or two chapters today because there are 18 chapters. We cannot discuss all, but we'll discuss one or two today. So, to one who has studied the Bhagavad Gita, even a little, who has sipped at least a drop of Ganges water, who has worshipped at least at least once Lord Murari, there is no discussion with Yama, the Lord of Death. This is Shankaracharya's verse. So Bhagavad Gita is basically a love story. It is about Krishna's love for all of us. That is why Krishna is saying, please, Krishna loves us very much. God loves us like nobody else. Not even my wife loves me like that. Like how God loves us. Not even my child or not even my parents. Nobody loves me like God. So Krishna is saying, you please, I'm somehow, let's exchange in love. The reason we exist here, we have our existence, is to have a loving relationship with God. But we've forgotten that. So Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita many times, please offer me a leaf. Now, Krishna is God, he has everything. He is begging us, please offer me a leaf. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati, tadaham bhakti uparitam, ashnami prayatatmanaha. He is not in need of a leaf or a water, or he's saying, please offer me a leaf, flower, fruit, water. If you offer me, then I will feel very happy. It is not that the thing that we are offering, Krishna is in need of that. But through that offering, Krishna accepts our love. Like we say, it's not the thing that counts, it's the thought that counts. Even your child may give you most insignificant thing. But if it is your child and you love your child and your child has drawn something with great affection for you, as a birthday present he gives you something, you will keep it to your heart and you will store it. For others it may not mean much, right? Sometimes in the cube, they in office, they'll put some picture that their child is drawn and we think, what is this? This is something. But for that parent, it is a very great thing. It matters too much. So Krishna is saying, please come back to me, please come back to me, please love me, please let us have a loving relationship. So it's a love story actually. Krishna is telling us, and because he has everything, but one thing he doesn't have. What is that? Because God has everything. Everything belongs to God. What he doesn't have is your free will, your love, which you only can give. Because can love be forced? Can't be forced, right? If I put a gun to your head and you say you love me, say you love me. You say I love you, I love you. But is it coming from the heart? I love you? No. Because the gun is there. That's why I'm saying I love you. So Krishna doesn't want to put a gun on our head and say, oh, Stel, I love you. No, that kind of love he doesn't want. He wants voluntary. When there is love, he wants out of own our own desire. So he's begging for our love. And that is the thing he doesn't have. Krishna doesn't have our love. So he's begging. He's Atmaram, but he's also begging our love. And like a parent, he's our parent. Krishna says, I'm the father of every living entity. He wants to take care of us, he wants to give us shelter. Every parent wants to give comfort to their child, right? So Krishna also wants to give us comfort. And he's literally crying for it. He's crying because we are in a very difficult situation. Let's say your child was in a very difficult situation, right? In a place where there are bomb blasts happening and gone to Afghanistan, let's say, maybe not so, no, but maybe gone to Ukraine now. Then you will be very worried, right? Those those soldiers who are in their army, their parents are very worried whether what will happen, will our child come back or not. It's a dangerous situation. So in this world also, yeah, we heard about United Health, that CEO, right? He was just walking one day and then somebody pulled a trigger because he had some other thought process, if you're following the news. But so like that, this world is a very dangerous place. Anything, accident, so many things can happen. So Krishna wants that we should not be in such a dangerous situation, and he is kind of feeling for all of us. That's why he comes and he says, he shows his activities so that we can actually connect with him. He speaks Bhagavad Gita, but he can't force us. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna told Arjuna, Yatha ichasi tatha kuru. I have told you everything. Now you decide what you want to do. Some people say that is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. You can do what you want to do. Because that's what Krishna said. You do. Yes, that free will he has given. You can do what you want to do. But that is, what did Arjuna come? What conclusion Arjuna came to? Arjuna said, I said, Nashta moha smritir labdva, tvat prasadat maya achyuta, gatosmi sandeha, right? Karishye vachanam tava. My doubts have been cleared. Now my illusion is gone. I am ready to act by your instruction. And Krishna also said, if you didn't understand something, I will explain to you again. Like a good teacher in our school, right? When the teacher will ask, is there everybody understood what I said? Otherwise, some says no, then teacher will explain again the concept, if he's a good teacher. Otherwise, he'll say, come to my tuition class, join my tuition class. I will explain you there. Yeah, we had one teacher like that. He would not teach anything in the class because he wanted everybody to join his tuition and he could make extra money, right? She also had one, so I'm not. So Krishna is he's repeating also in the Bhagavad Gita, he's repeating again and again. Sometimes we think he's repeated that in 9th chapter, again he's saying in the chant, 18th chapter, same verse, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Why is he repeating? So he's summarizing, just as a good teacher, when he speaks, then at the end he summarizes what he has said. So, so Krishna is saying in many, many verses like that, you become my devotee, I will protect you, I promise. And when God promises, it is not like you and I promising, right? We can change. Today I promise something, and politicians, how they change. And so many people change. But Krishna's words will always come true. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Sometimes Krishna thinks, well, he tells Arjuna, you declare it boldly, that my devotee will never perish. Because Krishna made a promise, right, that he will not pick a weapon in the fight, in the Mahabharata. Krishna knew before, when he was speaking Bhagavad Gita, he knew I am going to break my promise. So he told Arjuna, you declare it. So, like that. Because if the devotee says something, then Krishna will make it come true. So that is why. So Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita so many ways, he's saying that, think of me, become my devotee, don't worry, I will provide for you. If Bill Gates comes and says, or Elon Musk better, because if he says, don't worry about your finances, I will take care of you, and he's your good friend, and if he's trustworthy, then he will say, yeah, I don't have to worry about why am I doing 2 jobs, he will take care. Whenever I need money, he will give. So I don't have to worry. So he is the Supreme Lord. Of course, that doesn't mean we don't have to work. I'm not saying that. But if we work for Krishna, if we sacrifice our life for Krishna, Krishna will give everything. If we become his friend, If you become Krishna's friend, Krishna says, I am the friend of every being, every living being. So if we become Krishna's friend, we from our side we extend our hand of friendship to. He's also already saying, shake my hand. But we are saying, oh. So we have to just say yes, handshake with Krishna. Then Krishna will give everything. Prabhupada, it is very much evident in the life of Prabhupada. Prabhupada came to America and he had no money. He, he was very poor. He didn't have any money. He came with nothing practically. And in few years, he had property worth millions of dollars. Because people were wondering, how is this? And he had people working for him without any pay. They were distributing his books. So people were asking him, how is this possible? What have you done? So he says, I depend on Krishna. So you depend on Krishna, everything will come about. Anyway, so Krishna also says in the 18th chapter that one who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. So we have to, if you want to worship Krishna, if you study Bhagavad Gita, you are worshipping Krishna. Okay, so we'll go into the chapter 1. There are 5 topics discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. One is the Jiva, the soul. One is Ishwar, the Supreme Lord, Bhagwan. One is Kal. Kal means time, right? This is 2024, now it will be 2025, 2026, like that. So that time is discussed. What is the nature of time? What happens with time? And Prakriti is this. Prakriti means this universe. How did it come about? When, what will happen to this universe? As what is this? And then another topic that is discussed is karma. Karma means all the reactions that we get for our activities we do, like that. Okay, so since we'll go on till what time? 6:30. So we'll leave some room for question and answers also, or comments. So Arjuna Vishad Yoga, that is the first chapter, right? Arjuna has a lamentation. What is his lamentation? Arjuna, you know the history that Kauravas and Pandavas both were assembled in the battle of Kurukshetra. Why? Sometimes people say Bhagavad Gita is inciting war because Arjuna doesn't want to fight and Krishna is telling Arjuna to fight. So this is a violent book. Those who are peaceful, they say, oh, we don't accept Bhagavad Gita. But can you imagine, do you require violence in society or no? Is there violence needed in society? Means if there is some burglar comes here with a gun, right? Then what will you do? You'll call 911. 911, then the police will come. The police has to do something, right? Can he say, oh, this burglar, I'm feeling very compassion for this burglar, I cannot shoot my gun. He'll get blood if I shoot him. The bullet will strike his body and the blood will come out and then it will be, he'll feel pain. Can the police say like that? Then what will you say? What kind of police is that? Right? That is not shooting. So Arjuna was a policeman. And the other party was, all peace proposals broke down, right? They had so much hatred that Krishna went and said, give them 5 villages. Actually, they were entitled to the kingdom, but Krishna went and said, give them 5 villages. And Duryodhana was so adamant, he said, he will not give even that much land which will hold the tip of a needle. So much compromise was tried, to avoid the war, but it was inevitable. So then finally, Arjuna is on the battlefield and he tells Krishna, take my chariot between the 2 armies. Because they were in Agyatwas, right? They were how many years in the exile? 12 years in the exile. And then 1 year was Agyatwas. So he doesn't know who all have come to fight. on the opposite side. So many years have passed. He wants to see, he wants to get an estimation of the enemy's strength, right? It's good, right? Before you fight, you want to know what your opponent, how strong your opponent is. If there is a war that breaks out between India and Pakistan, then you want to know Pakistan has how much army, how many fighter jets it has, how many this thing it has. So we we can plan ourselves. The Indian side can plan. Similarly with other countries like that. So he wanted to get an estimate of who all has come, who all is siding with Duryodhana. So he tells her, Krishna, please take my chariot between the two armies. And Krishna is very intelligent. What does he do? The armies are spread. There are how many? They have 11 Akshahonis. Kauravas have 11 Akshahonis. One Akshahoni is a big number of thousands of horses and on the elephants, and there were 11 Akshahonis. There were 64 crore people on that battlefield. So Krishna could have taken his chariot anywhere. But where did he take the chariot? He took it right before Bhishma and Drona. Why? Because Arjuna has soft corner. For if he took it before Duryodhan, Arjuna would not have felt much, maybe. But he took it right before Bhishma and Duryodhan. It is described in the verse. Drona Bhishma Pramukhata. So he took his chariot right before. And Krishna was thinking, he knew what is going to happen. Does Krishna know everything that's going to happen? Yes, he knows. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I know that as whatever has happened in the past, whatever is happening now, and whatever is going to happen. Vedaham samadhitani vartamanani cha Arjuna, bhavishyani cha bhutani, mam tu vedana kashyana. He says, I know everything that has happened. So he knows. So Arjuna is going to get depressed because he's going to see Bhishma and Drona, his grandfather and his guru. Guru who taught him everything, and his grandfather who on his lap he grew up practically, with so much affection. He has to fight against them. Battlefield itself is a difficult place. You agree? To go to battle. And to fight against those whom you have love for is even more difficult. So Arjuna is on the battlefield and he is bewildered. He says, no, I cannot fight. He's thinking, even in the midst of the battle, he's thinking about his choices. He's not just blindly, he's introspecting. So in the battle of life, we are so busy sometimes that we don't look at what choices we have. We should introspect, take time. Sometimes we ask people, please take Bhagavad. He says, I have no time. But this is for yourself, the real I that you are. If you have no time for yourself, how crazy is that, right? So we have to introspect who we are, really. At the end of the day, who are we? Why are we here? These questions are answered in Bhagavad Gita. And if you say, we have no time. So Arjuna was also thinking, what is my duty? What I should be doing? Whether I should fight? How will these choices? So he became very confused and he gave many reasons. He gave 5 reasons why he should not fight. First, he was feeling compassion for his grandfather and his guru. So, Daya. Then he was thinking, even if I win this war, I will not be able to enjoy. Because in my heart, I will always have that guilt that I killed my guru and I killed my grandfather. Right? They say, no pillow is as softer as a clear conscience. No pillow. Pillow, you sleep on pillow. If you have clear conscience, you can sleep very nicely. So he would be ridden with the guilt that he's thinking that if I get the kingdom, but in my heart, this will always trouble me that I killed my grandfather, I killed my guru. I cannot enjoy. So that is another reason. Another reason he gives is that I'm going to get sin. By killing the elders in the family, I'm going to get sin. And for my sin, I will go to hell. I will suffer. So they are thinking about the future also, not just do it because it seems right. It seems enjoyable. So he's thinking, he's introspecting all these things. He's also saying if all the men get killed, then there'll be no protection, children for women, there'll be no family tradition that will go on. and he's feeling completely indecisive about what to do. So at the end of first chapter, what he does is he keeps aside his Gandhi and he says, Krishna, I'm not going to fight. This is the turning point in the battle, because Arjuna doesn't fight, then practically the battle is over, because he's the main person in the war. So he keeps aside his Gandhi. So, so he's seeing the bigger picture. Like we plan for our child's future, right? Do we let the child play all day? We send him to extracurricular activities. Many times we say, people, please come for the session. No, no, my child has karate class or swimming class, right? Or that is there. And then they are thinking about the studies of the child. The child doesn't know anything. They're planning for the future. And as adults, what do we do? As soon as we join, we put our money in 401k. If your company offers 401k, so much percent you give and so much percent company gives. Why? Because you think that there will come a time when I will not be working. At that time, I can use that money for my retirement because I will not have a salary. So everybody plans for the retirement, right? So you're planning for the future, right? Everybody's planning. But do we plan beyond this life? No, we don't. We don't think that there is a next life beyond this. Our planning is limited to this life. So Arjuna is thinking more. He's saying, I'll get sinful reactions in my life. So like that, he puts aside his Gandhi. And in the second chapter, what happens is that we'll go briefly in the second chapter. Um, you can remember this. Second chapter is called Contents of Gita Summarized. The chapter is called whole Bhagavad Gita is there in the second chapter. So in the second chapter, there is an, if you want to remember what is there in the second chapter, you can remember Gita, Gita. G stands for Guru. So Arjuna is very confused, and he's on the battlefield. He's very confused. He doesn't know what to do. So then suddenly he gave a lot of logical reasons why he should not fight, but he's still confused. Then he turns to Krishna, and he says, Krishna, this friendly talking is not making any solution. I want you to give me advice. Means somebody who gives you advice, somebody who guides you. I want you to be my guide. I want to accept you as my guru. So in 2.7 in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna tells Krishna, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prichhami tvam dharma samuda chetaha yat shreyasyan nishitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. This is 2.7 Bhagavad Gita. He says, I am afflicted by dosha. I don't know, I'm weakness. I have weakness of heart. I don't know, I should do my duty, but I am feeling I cannot do my duty. I am in dharma sankat. I don't know what to do. So in this bewildered condition, I am becoming your shishya. You accept me. I am surrendering to you, and you tell me what I should do. So everybody needs like a guide in their life, right? A guide, some direction in their life, how life should go. And who should we ask? We should ask, we should take Bhagavad Gita, and those who have studied Bhagavad Gita, those who are following Bhagavad Gita, trying to follow Bhagavad Gita in their life, we should go to such a person and ask, right? Like in school, we have textbook, but we also have teachers, right? When I used to change from second grade, third grade to fourth, every time we get a new set of books. Now I don't know, here I don't know, I studied in India, but you have to go to the shop and buy big bundle of books, right? You had also had that same thing. Then you throw away your old books and you get new set of books. Now here it's all online. But that time we used to get. But do they say, now you got the books, now you study yourself. Now you do your, and will you come for the exam? No. You have to come to the classroom and you have to learn from a teacher. And in the class, are you the only one learning? There are other students also who are learning, right? So you get motivated to learn because you have other students That's why people change their homes. They go from Columbus to Dublin, right? Why? They have a nice house because of schools. Every time they try to find out, if they have young children. If they don't have children, they don't worry. They're not worried. But if you have young children, then you're worried. Where can I find a good house? But even if there is a nice house in Columbus, you'll not go there. Even you will pay more. You go into Dublin because Dublin schools are better than Columbus schools. I'm not, I don't know, but the statistics there, some people say like this, I don't know. So they go there and they pay more money because they want their child to be in good company so that he will study well, he'll be with other motivated children, he'll study well, and he will prosper in his studies, right? So that is why we need good association of devotees, we need teachers, we need an environment to study, we need the books. Everything is needed for spirituality. Whatever you need for material education, same kind of things you need for spiritual education. But in spiritual education, they are the ones who know spiritual subject matter. So Krishna started smiling. He started smiling because suddenly a friend is saying, "Oh, I am your disciple." So, like, supposing we are friends, and suddenly you say, "Oh, I am your disciple," then you think, "Yeah, what such a change." So, we need a guide in our life who speaks and follows what Krishna says, not his own philosophy. What Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, he speaks the same thing. And he has a guru. He has learned from other gurus. Can I become a doctor without going to any medical school? No, right? I will do your heart surgery. I didn't go to a medical school. Come, let me open your heart. You'll say, no way. So you will check the credentials. So any person you check, he has to have a guru. And that guru has to have a guru. It is called a parampara, which Krishna says in the fourth chapter. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshya vidu sakaleneha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. So, and he should be practicing, he should be self-controlled. These are the qualities of a guru. He can't say, someday I like to, you know, study Bhagavad Gita, then I go to, on a vacation for 10 days and I forget everything. Like that. Not like that. Somebody who's a very dedicated to serving the Lord, right? So you need a person like that. So then Krishna is saying, no, you should fight. And he gives many reasons why you should fight. So first he tells based on karma kanda. He tells based on karma kanda. Karma kanda means you do certain activity and you will get a result, good result. So he said, because you are fighting a dharma yudh, because you're on the side of dharma, if you die in this battlefield, you'll go to Swarga Lok because you've sacrificed your life for a good cause. If you win the battle, then you will enjoy the kingdom. And if you don't fight and you run away because of daya, then what will others say? Arey, he's a coward. He ran away from the battlefield. So that words for a Kshatriya, insulting words is more hurting than arrows. Like sometimes they say, a cut may not hurt so much, but if somebody says bad words to you, especially your closed ones, right, then it may be more hurting to you. Then, so Krishna is telling Arjuna, you should fight because this is going to give you a good material situation. Then he goes furthermore. He is trying to convince Arjun from all angles. So he is saying that this is your duty as a Kshatriya to fight. And he tells so many verses about the difference between the body and the soul. So he says you cannot kill the soul. So you cannot kill Bhishma. Because real Bhishma is the soul. Real Drona is the soul. Nobody can kill the soul. The soul cannot be killed. So this is a very fundamental understanding of spirituality. We all know we are Atma, we are not this body, right? Because the body is going to be left behind. But we will move on. The soul will move on. And the soul is immortal. So we will get another situation in our next life. So Krishna speaks many verses about this, how the soul cannot be. So this is something, if we realize that I'm just passing through in this life for a few years. Nothing is real. Everybody is passing through. It's like we are all in transit. In an airport, you take some before going to India, you land at Amsterdam or somewhere. You're in transit. So we are all in transit in our journey to the spiritual world. Hope everybody is going back, but how long it will take is we have to see. But so we are in transit, and we should do activities which will help us in our journey back home, back to Godhead. So we are not meant to ultimately stay here forever in this, sometimes in Dublin, sometimes in China, sometimes as a dog, sometimes as a cat, sometimes as a bird. We want permanence. Everybody is looking for a permanent situation, permanence. So Krishna is saying that yes, for the soul there is no birth nor death, and we change our bodies just like we change our dress. Vashanchirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naroparani tatha vihaya sharirani jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. So Krishna is saying that yeah, we change our dress. For the soul there is no birth or death. We celebrate our birthday, but actually you don't have a birthday. न जायते म्रियते व कदाचिन नायम भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयो अजो नित्य शाश्वतयम पुराणम न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. The soul is never born. The soul's coming into a body is called birth, and soul's departure from the body is called death. But the soul isn't eternal. We have always been living. It's not like my birthday this is the time I came into existence. If my birthday is 1st January 1990, it's not on that day I came into existence. I lived prior to that. Many centuries before that, I've been living always, and I will continue to live forever. So this is the fundamental understanding. So in spiritual life, the first thing to understand. So Krishna says distinguish between the permanent and the temporary. Chanakya Pandit says one thing: a person who gives up the eternal for the temporary ultimately loses both. And a person who gives up the temporary for the eternal loses nothing. Got it? A person who gives up the eternal means our relationship with Krishna, and for some temporary things in this world, ultimately you lose both, because temporary anyway you lose, because when the body is gone, everything, your assets, everything, your relationship, everything is lost. And because you invested all your time in the temporary, the benefit you are going to get, eternal benefit, means in awakening our relationship with God, the time we spend in service to God. If that we forgot and we just did our thing here, then what will happen? At the end of life, we'll lose both, because we lost the temporary and also the eternal. But if we give up the temporary for the eternal, temporary anyway we're going, we don't lose anything, because temporary anyway was going to be lost. So so he says the body has to go today, and that which is eternal stays forever. That which is temporary doesn't last. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. Ubhayorapi drishto antas tvanayas tattvadarshiti. Krishna says, the seers of truth have concluded that that which is eternal, there is no cessation. And of the temporary. So this body is temporary, the soul is eternal. He's saying like that. So in the discharge of your duty, you should not, you should tolerate any inconvenience and do your duty. So that is one way he is trying to convince Arjun. And then we have so many things to say, but then he talks about Nishkam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. He says, just do the right thing and don't worry about the result. It is your duty to fight. You just fight. Don't worry whether you will win the war, what will happen. This is called Nishkam Karma. So in the many, many verses, Krishna is saying, don't worry about the result. Just do your duty. And duty has to be right, of course, not do the wrong thing. Do the right thing and don't worry about the result. So if you do like that, then you will not be in anxiety. Whatever result comes, it's up to the Lord, right? Whatever it comes. So we have to act is nishkam. Normally in this world, we do anything, we first find out, oh, what is in it for me? What am I going to get, right? Like if there is a job offer, of course we have to see like that for practical reasons. How much salary they are offering, right? That's the first thing you ask. Then other things, how is the work environment and everything. But Krishna is saying that you do your work, but don't be attached to the results. And don't think that because you will not get the result, you will not do your work. Because sometimes we think, hey, if I am not worried about result, why should I do my work? Right? So he's saying you have to act, but don't think about the result. But there will be a result, right? If I work for 2 weeks in a company, there'll be a paycheck at the 5 minutes. Yeah. So what will I do with the paycheck? That's another thing. So he says Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga means you use that result of your work not for your own enjoyment, for your own happiness, for your sukha, for your man, and for your labh, but for my sake, Krishna is saying. Use it for, you offer it to me. That's what Krishna is. Nishkam Karma Yoga. Then you may say, well, how will my enjoyment come? Actually, when we serve Krishna without expecting anything, then we actually become very satisfied and very happy. This concept Krishna is introducing, it is a very, very difficult to understand concept. But he's telling Arjuna, do your work, dutiful, detached work done for the pleasure of Krishna. So we make gulab jamun because I want to enjoy, right? We make gulab jamun because I will eat nice. You think that I'm going to make gulab jamun. I can make gulab jamun. Arjuna is going to say in the third chapter, I don't want to make gulab jamun because I'm not going to enjoy it. No, Krishna is saying, you make gulab jamun, but you offer that gulab jamun to me. And you can take it as prasad. Of course, we get a prasad afterwards. So Krishna is saying, you do it for me, and that's what you are supposed to do. You do it as an offering to me. So this is a very interesting concept. And by this, you will not get sin. You will not incur any sinful reaction. Because if you do for Krishna, then you will not get any sin. Arjuna killed so many people in the battle of Kurukshetra. Do you think he got sin? We glorify Arjuna because on his own account he was not willing to fight. But when Krishna told him to fight, he fought. And for Krishna's happiness, he fought. So if you do something for the pleasure of Krishna, then we will not get the reaction of the world. Rather, we will become elevated in consciousness. We will become elevated in consciousness. So he's talking about that. Nishkam Karma Yoga. Then Arjuna is thinking home, but somebody who's doing this Nishkam Karma Yoga and who is self-realized, how will I recognize him? How will I recognize, like COVID patient, how do you recognize? Loss of taste, right? Shortness of breath, other symptoms, right? Every disease has their symptoms. So self-realized person, how will you know that this is a self-realized person? How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he speak? He asks this question, that Atmaram, who is an Atmaram? Like who is a self-realized person? So then Krishna talks that in the end of the chapter, in the second chapter, towards the end, he talks about who is a self-realized person. What are his symptoms? First he asks, Ka Bhasha? What are his symptoms? And Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmani Evatman Tushtaha Stita Pragyastadochyate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna said, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification which arise. So, what are his symptoms? These are the symptoms which arise, and these are very, we may feel they are very lofty. Yeah, 5 minutes. Very lofty symptoms. How can I come to this level? When you give up all desires for sense enjoyment and he finds satisfaction in the self alone, then is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. You may think, oh, this is too heavy. I'm nowhere. And of course, I feel like that also. But we can come to that platform. How? By practicing bhakti yoga, by practicing devotion to Krishna. Then we will slowly, as our impurities become eradicated, then we'll come to that platform slowly and gradually. And then we'll find pleasure inside. Pleasure is coming from within, from our relationship with the Lord. We don't need XYZ things outside to give us pleasure, right? Right now we are looking, karma means those activities you do because you don't feel fulfilled inside. I need a new Tesla, I need a new house. Of course, we can have that, but they are not attached to those things for pleasure. It is there, it is coming, I'm using it for Krishna's service. But if you think that this thing is going to give me pleasure, then that is not actually going to give you pleasure. But it's a different kind of pleasure. The spiritual pleasure that comes from within, Krishna is saying, that is what a self-realized person is. He's relishing that. And because it is a science, everybody can come to that level by following the process. So, like that, he says so many things, but since we're out of time, we'll take 5 minutes questions if there are any. So, I talked about a few things from Bhagavad Gita because this can go on, like there are so many chapters, and we have a call every day if you want to join on Bhagavad Gita from 7 to 8 on conference. So we read all the verses and discuss and like that. So if you can join online, yeah. And then every Thursday we have in our temple, we have a session on Bhagavad Gita. So you can join and you can share your realizations. It's give and take, right? So we share our thing, you share your thing, and we can all enlighten each other. This is actually, yeah.
Arjun was struggling, right? Struggling for the to fight with Pitama and all that. So how come he has so much confidence that he's going to win?
No, he has to. I mean, he doesn't know whether he's going to win or not. But
It says that.
but the fact that he has to injure his, he has to shoot arrows, right, against his grandfather. He has to shoot arrows against Dronacharya. Whether they will die or not, he doesn't know. He doesn't know the outcome of the battle, whether what will happen. But the very fact that he has, right, because they will, so that is painful to his heart. Somebody who's dear to you, you have to injure them. You have to, yeah, kill them. That's very painful for him. He doesn't know what's going to happen, but the that itself is giving him anxiety. Yeah.
Krishna showed the universal form. He showed everybody getting killed.
Yeah. Later on, he came to know that Krishna is already killed, because when he showed the universal form, Krishna told that you are not going to be the cause. I have already killed them. The match is already fixed. Right. So, yeah. So you're not going to be the cause because you just become the instrument. Yeah, instrumental cause. I've already killed them because when he showed his universal form, as time he was within his teeth, he was chewing all the Kauravas and they were all entering his mouth. So Arjuna, because Krishna wants to give credit to his devotee. So Krishna did the job. Many times in the battle, Krishna saved Arjuna. Otherwise, Arjuna could not have, survived when Karna uh, attacked with that Nagastra, right? And then Krishna took his chariot down. The same Arjun later on, he could not protect the wives of Krishna, yeah, because he said, "I have the same chariot, I have the same Gandiv, but it's not. I'm not able to." So it was because of Krishna that he was able to win the war. So he knew ultimately, before battle started, he knew that all of them are going to die. He just has to become an instrument. Nimitta matra bhava savya sachi. So he says, yeah, you become just an instrument. So anything else?
Prabhu, thank you. I have one question, Prabhu. Very short question. You said that the karmas you explained very well. My question is that Lord Krishna said in the Gita that there is no one in this planet Earth that could not live without doing a karma, right? So can you explain us that what kind of karma that we should do that actually don't bind those in this life, and also how do we eradicate our previous karmas in this lifetime so that we don't have to take a birth next time?
So there's a nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita in the third chapter. Two verses about this. अर्थात कर्मोन्यत्र लोकोयम कर्म बंधन तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संग समाचरा. Work has to be done for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Yagna means Vishnu. Otherwise, work will cause bondage in this world. So whether it's good work or bad work, according to whatever you do, you'll have pious results or sinful results. But even if you're pious, sometimes people say, I give charity, I do this. Yes, that is, you are building your punya. When you build your punya, next life you get a very nice situation, very opulent, very beautiful body, nice intelligence, and you know, wealth, and so many things. But the problem is that again in that life you can do some bad activities also, and our life is usually a mixture of good and bad activities. So then you can again go down, and even if you get a good life, you still have to die, right? That's another thing. I mean, nobody is spared from death. So even if you get a nice situation, that's why Krishna says, don't try to go to heavenly planets, because there also there is temporary situation. And then Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna Mamupetya Dukantya Punarjanmana Vidyate. He says, yeah, if you go to Brahma Lok also, then also you'll have to Shine Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti. When your punya runs out, then, but when you work for Krishna, we have four accounts. Imagine, in our temple, we have four, like some accounts. We have the main temple account, we have new temple account, we have catering account, we have Athens, there is a temple, we have that account. So we have four accounts. So everybody has four accounts. Your pap account, your punya account, your bhakti account, and there is another is aparad, offenses account. Offenses of when you do offenses in bhakti, that's another account. So we have four accounts. When you deposit in your pap and punya account, you will get a nice situation or a bad situation. It's a mixture, right? Generally, we are doing well, then we fall sick, then we get into legal trouble, somebody bothers us or something. Then again, it becomes nice. Then after some time again. So it's a mixture generally. So pap and punya, it is not that by depositing into a punya account, your pap will go down. Sometimes people think, I have done pap, but if I do punya, then my pap will decrease. That's not true. If you sow a neem seed and you sow what is a good fruit which is sweet? Mango. Mango. If you sow 5 mango seeds and 1 neem tree seeds, all will fructify. Maybe at different times, but they will all fructify. Because you sown mango seeds, that doesn't eradicate your neem seed, right? But when you deposit in your bhakti account, when you do activities in relation to Krishna, then it diminishes both your pap and punya. And you say, I don't want my punya account to be diminished. Why I should have my punya account to be? I like my punya account, but punya account diminishes so that you don't have any debits or credits in this world. You don't have to come back again to enjoy or suffer. Actually, it's all suffering in one sense, because as soon as you get a body, what does Krishna say? For one who is born, death is certain. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur. Dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So every time you're born, death is certain. Nobody is going to be immortal. And that is very painful. Many times you've seen, right, in your family or things, how painful it is. We don't like to have a mixed bag. We want pure milk we want, right? We don't want mixed milk with some water in it, some diluted, right? So bhakti, when you deposit in your bhakti account, when you surrender to Krishna, Krishna says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami masucha. I will, don't worry about your past account, because Krishna is controlling everything. Karma is given by somebody, right? If you have law in the traffic light, you have drive only at 60 miles an hour. But if there is no cop, then you drive at 80. Will you get a ticket? Unless you have those cameras which take your. Uh-huh. But generally, if there is nothing, you'll not get. So law means there has to be somebody who enforces the law. And who is enforcing the law? Krishna is enforcing. Now Biden pardoned so many people, right? Joe Biden, he pardoned so many people. He is the president. So he has the right, he can pardon. So Krishna is the president of presidents. He's the Supreme Lord. He can vanquish all your karma. He can take away. So this is devotional service. By doing bhakti to the Lord, that is how we can get rid of our karma. Otherwise, we'll never get out of this because we always have so much karma. So by surrendering to Krishna, all our karma is diminished. Okay, everybody's looking at me from there as if. Yeah. So we'll stop here. Thank you, everyone. Japa? Yeah. So we'll do one round.